my own store?
Actually, yeah, that's the hot seat. That's what's
I thought
alive.
we were-
Heck no. Woo.
All right,
You're in trouble.
grill me. I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready to be in trouble. They called me out already. I'm here for
What
it.
did they call you out for?
Using
it, right?
Yeah. Well, we
Okay.
signed up. I signed up 4 months ago, and then my other duties with the group took me to another store, and so
Okay.
I did not onboard correctly. I didn't get my team trained up in the right way. I signed up like we do with so many other products, and then
Yeah.
just let it roll.
So is
And,
any of that on our end though, too? Though, did we chase you enough? Or?
They did. They attempted to chase me,
Okay.
you know, and it's like I just kept thinking to myself, well, I'll get the next one. I'll get the next one. And then John sent me a. Am I supposed to be using this?
All right, is he supposed to hold that?
So you can hear it on this.
Oh, sure.
So people walking by.
Oh, okay.
Draw some attention.
Okay. All right. But John called me out in an email, which I greatly appreciated, and was just like, "Hey, man, we're partners. We're not just a money pit.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to use us, use us. If you're not, then don't." You know. And it was a giant wake up call for me to just refocus on what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to accomplish, and yeah, man.
So we do have your inventory pulled up here. Now, I don't know on the fact that I'm sure you've been trained on and stuff, but, you know, we added some new stuff up at the top, you know, real quick. And so really just to give you some understanding of what we're trying to do. So, because it was weird. The tool's going through so much this growth phase and moving things around where we have like Lot Party, we got Lot Walk, companies, Lot Pop's, like, what is it? So obviously, you know, Lot Pop's a company, Lot Walk's a tool. And, you know, I wanted to utilize Lot Walk as the physical Lot Walk. I always wanted to manage inventory and leads as if I'm doing it on the showroom floor, right?
Yeah.
Like, example, customer emails on a car that's sold. We don't just say the car sold and hit send the
That's
email. We
nothing
say,
worse.
hey, you know, you try to switch them. You don't do that on the showroom floor, right? You don't walk away. Hey, that car sold and walk away.
Yeah.
So don't do it in email. So anyways, Lot Walk, what I wanted to do up at the top here is I think as a physical Lot Walk, 15, 20 minutes of your day, right? You're going to walk the lot, move cars, fill holes.
Yep.
And then you keep an eye on the lot, make sure customers are being met and greeted. So that's the concept on Lot Walk. And then the Lot Party is, do you guys call it Lot Party or Lot Rodeo? When you key up cars, move them
Lot
around?
Party.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
Lot
exactly.
Party.
So Lot Party is not 15, 20 minutes. That's
Yeah.
like an hour ordeal. It's or all, half a day, you know,
Yep.
keying, especially if you're in a snow area, you're keying up cars, moving them, plowing, and it's a all day kind of thing. So that's what Lot Party is. If you want to dig deeper and spend a little bit more time, go there. So with Lot Walk, we have these 5 little tabs up at the top. And it's just, hey, these are the cars missing photos. Now, we have your photo count. You say, hey, we at least do temporary, but 30 total.
Yeah.
So this says, okay, if any car has less than 15 photos, you might not use our tool for that. You might use your other photo tool for that. But just a heads up, you got 30 cars with less than 15 photos.
Yep.
Just to give you an insight, too, on that, these little gray dots represents any of this see how that says Auto Trader?
Yep.
That one says, and then the red one's going to be the default. That's your pricing tool. So there's 11 in Viato.
Yeah.
But they're not on Auto Trader. They're not on Cars and maybe Car Gurus. So to me, that could be a red flag. Now, if the photos just happened today or yesterday, then maybe it could be a feed issue. But just to let you know, that's what that is. And red is the indicator for us. That's what we're going to trigger the photo count. Okay. I was with the dealer yesterday. It showed a lot of cars without photos, but his default site we're looking at was Auto Trader.
Okay.
Auto Trader had 5, but the other sites had 50. So he's like, no, I have photos on those cars.
Yeah.
But because we're looking at Auto Trader. Anyways, missing photos, no leads, no switches. I think these are this list right here probably has to be your most important list.
Yeah.
Okay. Because no leads, and you have nobody in 60 days of your database looking for that type of segment or price point. So these cars cost you money one way or the other.
Absolutely.
You either got to drop the price to get the leads, put a spiff on it, or advertise it, right? Or maybe not putting money on it, but just force customers on those cars as they come in the door.
Yeah.
We know that don't happen as much. Predictor is pretty cool. And one of the things I wanted to tell you about this, you know how we predict the price point of where we think this car will sell. We think this car will sell at 96% of market. And we structure that based on your historical sales, right?
Yep.
Okay. Do you, and you'll have to, I want an honest answer on this
of
one.
course.
you put a lot of weight to that? Do you trust that number, or is it like,
So that was one of the big changes we made after John emailed me, is that like all the inventory coming in and the updated prices, we really just had like a, come to Jesus moment just a couple weeks ago. So
Yeah.
we're fixing everything and getting it lined up. But now my used car manager is pricing off of Lot Pop's data,
Okay.
and then making adjustments from there based on where it's going to exit the market at.
And I want to clear that up too. It's, yes, the way we calculate it is different, but this is coming out of your inventory management tool. Now you use VAuto, so right? VinQ, I'm sorry.
No, you can.
So you're on VinQ. So we're pulling that data out of VinQ. So we're getting VinQ data, but slicing it a little bit differently to give you. And again, we're looking at historical sales, and I'm going to walk it through just for the people who might be watching.
Yep.
So we look at 60 days of sales as the first set of data, and we say, okay, in the last 60 days, how many Ram have you sold? Okay, and at what age did it leave your lot, and what price to market did it leave your lot?
Yeah.
And then we look at 1500s. We look at large pickup trucks leave your lot at 47 days at 94% to market. Again, that's VinQ data.
Yeah.
And we put it in here. And then we look at 2019s. We're looking at similar days supply, similar miles per year, similar price point, 22.5 to 25 grand. And then did you sell this exact year, make, and model? We take all this data and we average it up. Now, just to let you know, because you may or may not know, if you're a Ram store selling a Ram, I'm going to take this number on that first and give it more weight, because that has more weight than you trying to sell a Honda.
Yeah, of course.
And then if you sold this exact year, make, and model, now it could be a Honda, it could be a Ram, it doesn't matter. We're very specific to that year, make, and model. I put more weight into the average, because that has more weight too.
Sure.
So anyways, I just wanted to back that up, because a couple things that I wanted to let you know on that we added. It's like, I go, okay, what if the car's 60 days old now? It's not going to sell at 95%, because 60-day-old cars are usually at 88 or 90, right?
Yeah.
So that's what this age bucket is now, okay? And it says, hey, you might have sold it at 100% average, but by the time it gets this age, this is where they're leaving at.
Yeah.
And then we also added the last 2-week data for some of the fields, just to give you any current, because 60 days is pretty far back.
Yeah.
So if things are slowing down or have to be priced cheaper, you'll know that there. All right, so the reason why I bring that up is, and I talked about it yesterday, if anybody's listening on that, is to trust that kind of number. I wanted to show you because here's the thing. I started this 11 years ago, and I track data manually, and I'm massaging all the information, trying to figure out the best way. Because, when I was with a VAuto rep, or, even a VinQ rep, anybody coming in, when I was sitting out with the dealer trying to debate on where we should price a car, that's a debate. You can argue with me and say, no, it's got the right color, it's the right, we do a great job with them, and that's your opinion.
Yeah.
So I wanted more actual fact data that you can't argue back to me. So that's how I came up with Predictor, but then I had to make sure it worked. So I don't know if you spend much time in here, but this is what you've been selling, right? And you have 36 compact sport utilities in stock. You sold 17. That puts you on pace for 34. So what I did was, I'm just going to grab some of these where you're selling a lot of. Now, what I had my team do to make sure this works, I said, take all the cars they sold and act like it's still on their lot and tell me where we would predict it to leave.
Yeah.
As if it was still in. Now, if I took that and averaged it, we would have thought they would have left at 48 days at 96%. Now, look, we're looking at 17 you did sell. Well, let's see where they actually sold at. 46 days at 97%.
Yeah.
Pretty dead.
Pretty close. Yeah.
It's always within like about 1 or 2%. Now, the cool part is you get to dictate that age.
Yeah.
You don't get much control of the percentage of market.
Sure.
But how soon do you get to that 96?
Yeah.
So my point is, if you want to go on at 30 days, you should be at 96 by day 20, day 21, right? You should give it 7 to 10 days to sell. All right, so let's just do one more of those buckets. How come I can't get out of there? There we go. Let's look at this one, see if we're accurate. 48 days at 94, and they left at 49 days at 93.
Yeah,
okay?
It's funny.
So what my point is, trust that predictor, because I can look at count after count, and I'll bet my life that thing's going to be within a couple of 1 or 2%.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the days might change because if things are moving faster or slower.
Sure.
Then that's up to you.
Time of year, whatever it is.
So to go back to this predictor and that lot walk, what I did is say, okay, don't tell them if it's older than and or priced higher than the predictor, okay, like this car, 98%, and you're still at 107.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to look at is like, oh wait, I'm not on higher than predictor. Sorry. All right. I don't want to wait to day 50. So typically I'm going to say, hey, show me any cars that are older than 55 days old that were still priced higher than 95% or whatever the predictor says.
Yeah.
So this car's older than 95 days old and 100. So this car's on the predictor.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, I don't want you to wait to day 55 to put it at 95%. Do that about a week or two beforehand so it moves.
Yep.
So I would want on your end, you want to sell 100% of your inventory, right?
Yeah.
And you want to do it profitably, right? So you want cars gone in 30 days.
Yeah.
So really you should be at that 95% at day 20, day 21.
Yeah.
And then those cars should be moving.
Yeah.
Some cars are going to be able to do more. Some cars are going to be able to do less. Like 98 here and 95 there, okay?
Yeah.
All right. No lead. So I'm not telling you got to go in here and change these prices. Either ignore or work. If you want to go in here and ignore every car today, I would do that just to get in the habits, because at least you're recognizing you have a problem. You made decisions, and that's better than the guy down the street not knowing he has the problem and not doing nothing about it.
Absolutely.
All right. And plus, as you work or ignore these cars, when you go to the next one, if you've already handled that car, it's at the bottom of the list. You don't have to revisit it. No leads in 7 days. I like this because especially like when you could be in your inventory tool and go, oh, don't worry about that car. We got 2 leads on it. Well, how old are those leads?
Yeah.
Okay, it's 13 days since you had a lead on it. So it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So even though you have leads, if you haven't had one in the last week or so, you probably should be worried about it.
Yeah.
The last one, I mean, I liked it in a way that, I, if anything, do those 4. This is just if you're heavy in 3 of these 4 things. So you got a lot. It's got a lot going against it. And usually by the time you do these 3 or 4 things, you've already handled these.
Yeah.
All right.
Worked their way out.
Anyways, going through that should only take about 15, 20, 30 minutes tops. If you do that every day, just touch. The next step would be, again, our lot part. I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to show you where this is coming from. When we first had the tool, we would force you to click on a button, then click here to go see all your problems. What areas are you not selling enough out of?
Sure.
But again, if you wanted to the 25 to 30 grand cars and ignored or worked a lot of those, you probably handled a lot of the Rams. And so by the time you got to the Rams, all right, so what I did is instead of you having to click on Lot Party, click here to go find that, on the lot walk, once you do these, just click top 5, and here's your top 5 issues. 0 to 15, 25 to 30, 8,000 to 10,000 mile cars, 46 to 60 bucket, and your Jeep.
Yeah.
So it's just a real quick, hey guys, these are your biggest 5 issues.
Yeah.
Again, that I would say, I would love for you to do it every day or pay attention. But if you're doing that every 2 to 3 days a week, because you don't. Here's the good and bad thing about inventory. I'm not serious about this, but technically you could get away with working your inventory about once a week.
Sure.
Sit down on a Tuesday, go through every car, adjust pricing, wait till next Tuesday to do it. A lot of dealers did. They waited to our weekly call, or they had that day of the week, right, that they handle the inventory and then kind of move on. You can't do that with leads.
Yeah.
Right. So, but with this, like I said, I would say every 2 to 3 days, but if every day would be great, because then you're making movements quicker and faster.
Yeah, of course.
So that's lot walk. Do that. Try to do that every day. At least this quick thing every day. No leads, no switches. See if you're driving that number down. Which cars you might be priced too high. No lead, no activity. I would do that.
Yeah.
And then again here at least every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
All right. So, but ideally every day. No different than a physical lot walk. You should do one every day, but there's days that I forgot. All right. So that's lot walk. And again, if you want to dig deeper, you can go to Lot Party. And then now you start digging into all this other stuff. You might be heavy or light, and you can get deep. The other way you can get deep, and this is where I'm going to do I didn't want to do a training session here. I want to do a hot seat.
No, you're okay.
So these are your charts, okay? And you're doing good. Meaning you're selling basically 50% of you're going to sell 128 with 129 in stock. So volume's there.
Yeah.
What? You don't seem happy.
Well, no. So like last year, we were selling probably 150 to 170, And the reason I ended up signing up with LotWalk is because I was trying to grow that number to 200.
Yep.
But we had always been if I had 150 retail, like ready, I was going to sell 150.
Yeah.
And I found that as I was trying to forcefully acquire more cars to bump that number up, my efficiency was dropping pretty rapidly. And then, of course, like you've got your holding expenses and everything else that were going up because of that. And so, like now, I've gotten back. We downsized in December to try and start building up for the spring, but it makes me sick to finish at 130 used cars versus 150. But I have less overall expenses and that kind of stuff, So it's like,
and just like
I just want to build up the right way.
Yeah.
Using this tool.
So you go back to September 12th. So we can go back a whole year. Yeah. And what's cool about this, I just mentioned to my guys yesterday, is anybody that's been with us for a year, we got tax season coming up. Frank Knox was here. We're talking about looking historically, where were we last year? This would be a good time to look back last year. If we have data going into tax season, how much my inventory, how was it moving? Yeah. Should I get to that level again? Because I see dealers stock up for tax season and it was a dud, and then they got a big aging problem in April and May and stuff like that.
Well, I did that in the fall when I was like, I really wanted to push that volume, and my inventory ended up getting just nasty. Nasty. And if I had been using the tool correctly, I probably wouldn't have had that problem, but.
Well, just to point this out too. Now it's a small window of time going back to September.
Yep.
But if you look at the two lines you want to look at is green and the gray, because and the blue line is that 50%. The only time that gray, which is your sold percentage, went over and hit that goal was when you had the lower inventory, the green line. Okay, when you're sitting at 160 cars.
Yep.
Everything's fine.
Yep.
You start building that up, 200 cars. Yeah, to your point. Now all of a sudden, that sale rate drops.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And you're selling the same amount of cars with more inventory.
Yeah.
Because back here actually less. Yeah, you're doing 160 with 140, and then all of a sudden
I kind of expected to go down in volume, and what I was trying to do is, well, if I increase it with the right cars, well, maybe I can avoid having that problem. I still had that problem, and just had way more expenses.
Well, and then too. Well, we'll look at it, but let me get back out of that. So any chart you can kind of backdate. You can look at franchise, non-trades, or purchases. But one area that I do want to show you is another step of digging a little bit deeper. If I'm going into account blindly and I see pretty decent numbers on volume, I want to dig deeper, quicker. So all I do here is, I'm going to look at franchise and see what happens here to non. And you guys are running pretty evenly, but obviously non. Or I'm going to look at trades at 57%, and purchases are going to be in the 40s. So right now, kind of off my top of my head, purchases are going to be that area I'd want to focus on. Now, by doing that, see how this chart says purchases? Yeah. Now, all these charts are just mapping out your purchases.
Nice.
And you can dig deeper into that. So that's just my cheat code.
Nice.
Like if somebody said, hey, come take it, I'm going to go there. And I'm going, all right, dude. Because I've seen I was on dealership, their purchases are at 20% sale rates and their trades are like 70%.
Yeah.
So you could be cheap selling your trades and you can maybe hold out on pricing on those, and then you're not aggressive enough on purchases.
Yeah.
Which are usually the hardest cars to be aggressive enough because you made the decision, you committed to it, you bought it, and you don't want to openly admit those issues. So what was funny was, not funny, I was with all my lead guys at the office. We do quarterly meetings, and every from day one in our core values at the company has always been first 30. Our number one core value, because I know if I can increase the amount of cars you sell fresh, your gross is coming. And then what's cool about first 30, it's a trickle down effect.
Yeah.
Okay. That means it affects service, turnaround time, transportation, detail, photos, lead management. So if you manage first 30, it forces you to manage all those other things, right?
Yeah.
So when I was meeting with them, I said, guys, what do you think is more important, first 30 or the 2-week sold percentage? Okay, and they all said first 30. But let me ask you something, and it is in my eyes, but volume is the key. Because here's the thing, if you got 100 cars in stock and you only sold 10 of them in 2 weeks, but 7 of those 10 went out in the first 30, you would have a 70% first 30 sale rate, but you're only selling 20% of your inventory. Yeah. So I'm like, you got to have the volume before any of this can go into pack. So the
Yeah.
fact that you're selling 100% or pace, that's why I'm like, that's why I like that number.
Yeah.
Because now the rest of our conversation can hold true.
Yeah.
Because if you're only selling 40% in 2 weeks or 60, then I got to get that volume up first before I can do the rest of this stuff that
Yeah.
makes sense. All right. So yeah, you got right now. Here's the 2 areas I would focus on. You need to get this middle bucket, this 21%, 31 to 60, because you have an aging problem.
Yep.
You want this number below 20%. Get it in the teens, because what you're doing is squeezing off the bleed through.
Yeah.
Okay, your aging
Yeah.
problem's
Before
already
it
done.
gets out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's the cleanup from our mass perch.
Yeah.
You know, it was, you know,
So
we're
I
getting
don't want. So you got 25 cars over 60 days old.
Yep.
That's this right here is what we're looking at. We got 25 cars over 60 days old. Hopefully, that's it. We cut the bleeding.
Yep.
That's why I'm not gonna. Most guys are gonna start. Why I get rid of these age cars, and then as they're blowing out age cars, they try to hold out on their fresh stuff and keep the price high. I'm losing $2,000 here, so let's try to make $3,000 here. And no,
Yeah.
cut the bleeding off first. Get these 30 to 60 day old cars moving. Get that
Yep.
done first. The problem is a good chunk of these cars, they're not divided equally. 31 to 60, that's 21%, pretty much all sitting here.
Oh yeah.
So it might be too late. Within a week or so, this might get up to 30, right? They're going to dump.
Well, it was
So-
a conversation we had because of your team was that these cars are going to sell where they're going to sell at.
Yeah.
And it's like holding out, waiting for it to happen, hoping that, you know, oh, I held it for 70 days. I end up winning. And it's like, I didn't win, you know,
Yeah.
I didn't even come close to winning, you know? So
That's
That
what I
was
would say. I call that the Obama strategy, because Obama ran on hope and change. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
either hoping somebody comes in and overpays for a car, or the
Yeah.
market changes and it becomes more valuable or something,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
not. So those days are gone. So yeah, keep driving this down as you're working out of age. Of course, you're going to work out of age, but the focus is driving that. Even more important than first 30 right now, because you need to, you know, sell the first 30, but you got to stop the bleed through. Because once here's what I'm telling you. That's causing a gross problem, right? You obviously have less money, and here's the average markup. You got less markup on these cars than these up here.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you're stopping the bleed through 30 to 60, gross takes a hit.
Yep.
Then you're getting rid of age, gross takes a hit. So this, and I tell you, hey guys, sign up. We're going to increase gross and volume. I cannot help you do that until, well, I'm going to help do that, meaning I'm going to minimize losses. But you got to, let's just say we stopped the bleed through. We got 25 units. You got to tell me, how soon do you want to get off those 25? Do you want to do 12 this month, 12 next
I
month?
want to do it right now.
Do you want to do this month and clear? I don't hear me too. Somebody said, do I just wholesale? No, don't wholesale anything.
Yeah.
You did, well, I can't say that. How you doing, John? Don't wholesale unless you could go wholesale and make $4,000 versus losing $2,000. But
Sure,
I want to try to make, I want to retail out of everything, try to get the trade, try to get the F&I, get another happy customer in my service department, all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
So retail out of everything, but you're not going to see an increase in gross until this goes away. And if you take 3 months to weed out of that, because we're taking too much of hits, I can't just blow things out. That's how long it's going to take before you see that gross come out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where we went from signing up dealers on a 3-month contract to a 6-month contract.
Sure.
Because our first 3 months is not fun. We get their volume up and they love us and like, yeah, I love it. This is great. By the second month, they like us because love turned into like, because the volume's still there, but grosses are sucking.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, it's been 2 months, our grosses are still sucking. And then by the third month, if they haven't really made a big transition to start seeing grosses coming up and volumes there, if they're still sucking out all their gross are sucking now 90 days in this thing, and they almost want to tap out. All right, guys, I see what you're trying to do. I just can't keep up with you. How you doing, Gal? So that's what's happening, and I don't want and so I said, hey, I need the first 3 months to clean things up, and I want the next 3 months for you to reap the benefits, and see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. So I know you've been on longer than that, but you had that.
Yeah, we were not utilizing it. Yeah, we hit the reset button.
So understand, it's natural. It's not fun. It's not going to be. I hate to say this. It's kind of like chemo. You need to do it. It's not. It's not going to be. It's not glorious, but you can make it fun by, again, I make it fun because I just like looking at the data, watching the trends, and just seeing the differences. So do that. You're outselling each one of these buckets other than 46 to 60. We saw that in your top 5 issues of
Yep.
4660. Definitely want to address those. I'm going to dig into that here in a minute. But again, let's see the differences on your purchases. Boom. Now all of a sudden, you're not selling enough out of multiple buckets instead of just 4660. Okay. Here's the other thing I want to tell you too. If we want to increase this fresh sale rate, right now, well, it's about even, but so this is telling you 20% of your active leads, the ones 60 days or older, are on these cars. 24% are on these. So you got 44% of your lead are sitting on those cars.
Yeah.
All right. So a lead is an activity. We get a lead, we're going to call an email. So 44% of your activities, calls and emails, are going to be cars where you're not making much money.
Sure.
Okay. So are your people handling leads? Are they paid commission? Are they just appointment setters? What's going on there?
We have a internet team, frontline salespeople that handle all the leads that come in, and they're both commission salary or hourly.
So imagine a good chunk of their leads coming on cars they're not making much commissions on.
No, they're not paid on the profit. Just commission as far as you set an appointment, you sell a car, you get a flat dollar amount kind of thing. Yeah.
So I mean, I remember back in the 90s and 2000s selling internet, and they always said that we didn't make any gross. You guys cost us money, and I'm looking at them like all the leads we're getting on of these age cars you're blowing out that you're losing money on, and we get leads because it's a great deal, and I sell it, and it's my fault.
Yeah, right.
Come on. So my point is, we need more leads up here too. Yeah. But even if we don't have leads on these cars, this 12%, a lot of these cars will have switch opportunities. So, no leads, but 10 switch opportunities. 10 people looking for a truck, around 35 grand in your DMS. So or your CRM. So this is where getting your team to work leads in here, because you're going to have the cars that are the freshest are priced the highest. Photos aren't there yet, and you don't get any leads. Yeah. So your team won't help you sell. They only work cars to get leads on. So these cars don't have leads. They're not doing calls or emails for that car. So if we can get them to understand how to not only work the leads on the cars still in stock, 26 leads on those fresh cars, we should be calling and emailing them every day. It looks like you have only 7% of them haven't been contacted in 2 days. So that's awesome. Yeah. The switch, there's 120 switch opportunities. And this is where you can all of a sudden take this 18-day lead from a F-250 to another truck. That one's tricky. But we got another area for them that does exact make models. But let's get these switches going and get that fresh sale rate up. All right. So let's go back to those charts. And then here's the other area. Pricing. See, this is here just blindly, me just looking at this, meaning I haven't looked at it prior. What would you think would be my concern?
Sorry, is this price to market?
This is your price to market.
Well, just at like my middle-aged are at my highest price, and I've got my freshest inventory is too low, and it should be inversed. Should be 100% there. Should be like dropping as we go down.
Exactly.
And, I think this is a nice change, but we're not. Sorry, I don't want to touch it. No, but we're not making enough money in the 0 to 15.
And look at your trade-ins at 91 and your purchase at 97, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that also should be reversed. My trades, I should be able to hold out and ask a little more for it. There's a story behind it. My purchases, if they're at 91, that's fine. Let's get those moving. But we tend to price purchases higher because we own them higher. I mean, that's probably what's happening down here on cost of market, right? If we look at it compares, we own our purchases higher than our trades. Yeah, of course. So obviously, naturally, so that's an indication, a little bit of cost of pricing. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And if you didn't know the cost of your car, would you price more efficiently?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, which shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I wouldn't mind seeing this at 100%. Then, like I said, on down. But only, and here, that's what I always tell dealers too. I don't care if you start at 105, 110, 95. As long as your sale rate can justify it. If you're not, look at how little you sell 0 to 15. That's that light green line right here. Right?
Yeah, and our problem there is your team just helped me fix it. We're working on fixing it, is changing my process, because I have a bigger inventory. I kind of broke it when we bought all those cars, and ultimately I'm going to do detail first, then photos, and that will get my cars online and retail ready.
Yep.
well before, and allow me to utilize that, that larger markup there versus, waiting until day 12 or 13 to where they're finally online.
And that's a good point, and then here we can add charts and stuff. So I'm going to go to this investment total down here. Holding cost. Did we put it up here?
It's going to make me sick when I see it, though.
No, I want to point out, you mentioned turnaround time. See, we say average age to sell is, which is green. Average age, see green up here, average sold holding cost. So on average, it's taking you 47 days to sell a car, right? All right, so what's big about turnaround time, because over the years, for a long time, we've had dealers get rapid recons and iRecons and all these turnaround tools.
Yeah.
And they get their service department to take their turnaround time from 12 days down to 8 days, down to 5 days, right? And so that whole team, that's a lot of work. You got a lot of moving parts to do that. And but in the meantime, they have a used car manager that still prices cars the same and still moves the inventory the same. All that work is thrown out the window.
Sure.
The only reason why you want to take a 10-day turnaround time down to a 5-day turnaround time is so you can sell the car 5 days faster.
Yeah.
So if you don't take your average age of sale from 47 days down to 40 days, all that, and
all that
save,
work is
throw it out the window.
Yeah.
So they're back there spinning your wheels, high-fiving each other, and then you got a used car manager that don't give it and just keeps it prices high. I'm not saying that's you. That's a real
what
problem. Happens.
Yeah.
Because those two don't. I don't see a lot of used car managers correlating that and saying, hey, they got 5 days faster. I need to go 5 days faster to really reap the benefit, because that's the only reason why I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So just keep an eye on that as you get better with that turnaround time. Make sure you're driving down that average age. And you did. I mean, again, you go back here, what was the average age of sales? 58 days.
Yeah.
So you sliced 11 days off already.
Yeah.
So you said you're worried it's not going to be pretty, but it's going in the right direction.
No, yeah. I just you get upset with yourself when you have a really efficient inventory and then you let it go to the wayside for whatever reason, and then you realize how much money you're leaving on the table or losing.
Yeah.
Because you're not keeping the right practices that you should have.
And so you look at this yellow line. That's what percentage of your inventory doesn't have leads, and that's pretty much right in the 40s. All right, and that's a constant number. Now, what's weird is, and I say weird, you went from 38% to 44%. You have more cars without leads. But the thing is, your leads per car, the blue line, went from 3.2 all the way up to 3.5. So you're getting more leads per car, but more cars have less leads.
We are like building up inventory again.
Yep.
Trying to move into.
So you're gonna have more fresh cars without leads.
Yeah.
But the cars you do have, especially the aged ones, you're priced more. Instead of 5 leads, now they got 10 leads on that one car.
Yeah.
So that's how the leads per car go up, but yet you have more cars with no leads. It doesn't make sense. It's like, how do I got more leads per car, but more of my cars don't have leads? But like you said, it's that fresh stuff. So that's where those switches come into play. But that's another area that you want to keep an eye on, those two blue lines, because you really don't see that anywhere else, and you need to know. I mean, looks like there's always going to be about 40 to 45% of your inventory don't have leads.
Yeah.
So do you just drop prices and wait for leads so then they can start calling and emailing, or do you, again, work those switches and try to get those things going? Now, just so you know, the switches are what we found is about a 3% closing. So it's not as strong, but also it all depends on how you handle it from the beginning. I think you can take that to 3% closing to 5 or 8% closing if we've always communicated. What I mean by that, we get a lead on a truck, you should also open the door up right then and there. Hey, yeah, that truck's in stock. By the way, are you open to any other thing? Did you just want this Ram, or you open to other trucks? 40, because I got 3 other in stock. Now now that Ram sold, I've always had that conversation. Hey, bad news, that truck sold. But remember, I told you we got 3 other trucks, and now I've always had that conversation with them. I think you can get that switch lead.
I think when it becomes part of the culture,
yeah,
that's when you can be more efficient with it.
Yep. So again, when we help you find a problem, 25 to 30 grand, this 28 score should be the biggest red flag. Now look at that, 60-day-old car.
I was just talking about this car yesterday.
Yeah, you changed the price a day ago.
Yeah.
No leads, no switches, and scores at 28 out of 100. I mean, that's just, this car has everything going against it. But where you're probably a month behind on it, right?
Yeah.
because you're at 99%. What's up, Joey? 99%. We think it sells at 96.
Yeah.
Let's validate that though, because again, we might not have a whole lot. See, there's not a whole lot to validate here.
No, we've never really dabbled in the 300s. We have a guy now who's buying for us from a CDJR store. So we're getting some different inventory in that we haven't had before. Jeeps, Rams, Chrysler 300s. I hate that I made an excuse for this car. I have 2 of these that are. I know this car will sell.
Yeah.
But
you gotta sit and wait.
It's gonna sit and wait. But it's not. Gotta get like back out of that mentality that like was so easy to fall into.
Well, my point. I mean, it
turn
might
is
sell
the name of the game.
98% because the predictor really doesn't have a whole lot of data. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not a Chrysler Dodge Jeep store.
No,
you can't just switch people to it. So you don't have a lot of historical. But I mean, if I had a lot of historical, you sold 10 F-150 or 10 or 20 F-150s. I got all the data between all the segments, and it'd be a little bit more solid. So is 98% good? I know you just changed it yesterday. Well, the only other indication I'm going to say good or bad is if you got leads.
Yeah.
Right now. So yeah, I think this car, this is the price you should have been day one.
Yeah.
And then we would have been, but the market moved. Day one, this price could have been 96% because the market's now moved and dropped, and now it's 98%. So, anyways, I would these cars. That's just what I'm saying. That's where you're a month or so off on that car, and that's where it's going to be really hard to stop that bleed through that 31 to 60, and the 60 plus, because we got to play catch up on those cars. I don't want you to drop this to 95%, probably where it needs to be, because that's another $1,000. It's like we're just gonna have to slowly chip it away now. But
I'll pay half of that in an auction fee to offload it. Yeah, so it's like it's really,
Well, I mean, again, I come in and just drop, lose, however you want to get there. And that's why I wanted to show you the predictor. It's lined up pretty good. It's just you decide what date you want to get there on.
Yeah.
And again, ignore or work. I would take you got 33 cars. Because you changed this yesterday, you want to ignore the car, ignore it, drop it off the list. It's down here, grade as ignored. That gives us, we track that stuff because I can see right here, you ignored 2 cars.
Yeah.
I know you're paying attention and you're doing that kind of stuff. And again, I'm not asking you to go through here every day and ignore and work, but a couple times.
Well, I have the benefit of having a big enough store that I should have somebody in here every day working this. And Ronaldo was working with my guy specifically to do that. So,
and here's the thing: if you have somebody else doing this, and you want to make them accountable, and they actually ignore and work.
This is their report card.
Well, we could say, guys, look, you ignored this car for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What'd you do? You didn't do nothing on it. You chose to not address this problem. And so, that reminds me. That makes me think. Hey, Chris. Or Ronaldo, somebody. As we get guys working this stuff, and we track ignored work, but I think we should have it historically on each car too. Almost a tab, to where I could see. Because I was telling him, if he's going to have somebody handle this and you want to make him accountable, have him work and ignore. If you see he's ignored it 7 times in the last 2 weeks and did nothing and chose to do nothing about it, it's not like he didn't know. I didn't know. I was, no, he did know. You pulled it up 7 times and ignored it 7 times. We don't have that anywhere.
Just tracking the ignored alone would be big enough. But yet alone each one of the individuals, that would be huge.
Yeah.
But I think just tracking the
ignored it worked, and we could see, okay, he's worked 5 times.
Yeah,
2 times,
and so we could have the two trend lines on there as well.
I just think another tab right here, where historical, and every time the price changes, we just
100%.
capture that. Every time we get a lead, we capture that. Every time they ignore or work, we capture that and just
track the history like you do for. I mean, in VinQ or VAuto, they track the history of the car.
Charlie,
same idea in there.
This is like Burger King, baby. It's your way, right away.
Right.
The man will get it done for you.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea.
Anyways, I mean, you would think we would have thought of that a long time ago, but I was just But we just got to get, because our challenge is just like you. Get in there and just start working the tool, guys. You signed up, okay? Because I can build that all out, but if you guys aren't going to use it,
I'll take note of it to take back.
That's what I think we should do.
Yeah.
What questions? What area would you say, man, I was hoping you'd cover this or look at that or tell me what I should be doing better on what?
Well, I mean, I think, it's like, and not to gas you up with your team, but what they did for me, which is like calling a reset to something that I thought was running smooth because I was distracted. It's like, I mean, we're resetting with the tool, and it's hard for me to say like, hey, I need to see something. I just retrained, and all that data is just good data. And it's like just the fact that your team held us accountable to, not wasting our money like so many of us do with so many different tools,
And that's why I wanted to make sure we do weekly calls, because I don't want you guys to sign up for a tool, do some training, and just follow up with you. I want to be part of that process.
Well, it's like if you really dial into it, like how much does 1,000 cost? How much money to really get that expense back? And it's like we shouldn't just spend money willy-nilly. And it's like, partners like you guys that make it, just hold us accountable. Just like we need to hold our team accountable, need to be held accountable by somebody, and it develops a better relationship. So
now this isn't a good mindset, and I've added stuff to it, but if you look in here, I don't know your gross because I'm not pulling from your DMS, but I can track your profit based on how much money was left, markup when the car left.
Yeah.
But I never put that in the tool, and I purposely did it because one, I didn't want to get to your point. If I'm part of your process and I'm trying to get you to do this, I didn't want to track gross because the fact I can't control it. If you guys decide the pencil deals away, right? Customer comes in, you give them another $1,000 off a car. It's nothing I can help control because I can pull up a car. I can change the price with you. I can rearrange the photos. I can help you change I can help you there. I can control that a little bit. But when it came to gross, I couldn't. So I didn't want to track it because of the fact I knew if I do the right thing and get you to do what I wanted, the gross will come. Yeah. And if not, you'll fire me. So that, to your point, like I said, we want to be part of that team. And if we can get those things going, all this will work out if we do the right thing. So that's why I just blindly didn't do it. Like, oh, hold on. So what I'm going to do is, what we don't have set up in here yet is like your pricing buckets to track. So 20,001 add to, let's say 30,000. So we'll do 10 grand increments. And so what we're doing here is, you can come back in here and change it if you want. Make 5 grand increments. I don't know how high.
I mean, generally maybe I have something once in a while that's more expensive than 50 grand, but I try to stay away from it.
Oh. Oops. We're sitting here doing this in the middle of it needs to be done. Look at that. All right, let's go now. Wait. And again, we can go back in here to edit this. I'll give it a try. So what we've done, and then so there's your buckets, and then what we've done over here is class and 20. So this is for switches. So you could say, make switches class like compact car within 2,500 above or below the price to offer a switch. A lot of people on the cheaper cars keep that here. I've had dealers on the higher dollar stuff make it make model. So if somebody wanted a Yukon Denali, it's hard to switch them to something else.
Yeah, so, for sure.
At 50 grand. So, but we'll make it class. And then the higher dollar cars, you can do 5 grand spread. So customer might be willing to go to 5, where the customer down here might not have that much.
Yeah, a little more strap for cash.
So anyways, we can go in there and edit this, and it'll refresh and go up through tomorrow and stuff. Oh, it does it instantly. So what we're doing here too is then we're showing you how many leads you have on those price buckets versus how many cars you have. Yeah. And then same down here at segment, 60 of your leads, 87 leads are on large pickup trucks. That's your biggest chunk with 33 trucks to sell them. Here's a perfect one. You have 24 leads with 1 truck to sell them at under 20 grand, right? Now, those are hard to go after, but you got way more customers than cars. Where here, you got more trucks than customers.
Well, so what's funny is I just took a phone call before I came over for that truck bucket, and my guy appraising the car called me. He was like, hey, this guy wants $10,000 for his car. Look at it like the numbers a couple days ago, and we got around. We're gonna sell that car. Like no matter what, we're gonna sell that car. So even if we're only making $500 or $1,000, we're gonna sell that truck as long as it's safe, as long as it's not a total piece of junk. We need it, and like that right there immediately shows. I got 24 people that I could call tomorrow that like, hey, I got a $12,000 truck.
You want to look at them, click on there, and those are the people.
Yeah.
You can call them before you commit to the number.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, I got a truck I'm looking at. Would you be interested in it for whatever price? And go ahead and pull the trigger. But so those are there. And then here, like we got 5 leads on 6 trucks. Now, the only thing that would be good news here is if all these are fresh, like 1 or 2 days old and haven't had leads.
Right.
But when you click here, we go to them in 59 days, 15 days, 10 days, 11 days, so 39 days. So they're all old enough that it'll give you a profile of what to be buying. Okay, we get a lot of $30,000 to $35,000 SUV customers, right? Let's keep filling that funnel. So this gives you a better profile of what your customers are looking for. The more leads you have, the more accurate that data is. So anyways, this is a good way to go shopping. If you need more, it's green. Click the historical list. If it's red, it's going to take you to the inventory and say fix it. So here's the trucks that you sold. This one got 19 leads. So try to get another one of those. 13 Silverado. Right. Matter of fact, if you click on the one, it'll give you a little bit more data, like what price, what mile per year buckets. I mean, we could give you more data here, like exactly how many miles, what color, stuff like that. But let's take something more realistic. Here, 17 and 4. So again, here's that list. F250, it's on it. Do that again. Yeah. Again, hopefully it's in a short enough window time that you kind of remember, or you could pull a Poly and VinQ, and if you needed to, was that one with the leather, or what? Was that two-tone?
Yeah, VinQ keeps all that data, so you can pull it up. It's got the photos and everything.
So just nice. If you got a buyer, say, hey, try to buy something next to this, and then now you got 9 people. And that's one thing I try to tell them. When you can start buying to an active market already, you don't have to buy a truck like this truck here. You have to go get it photoed. You're gonna have, because there's no leads. You just got it. You have nobody in the database. You might be able to switch some of these customers, but you got to wait for the market to come on it. But if I go buy this, you already have a market. You already got 9 people. Yeah. So I was just hitting a little bit on stocking because I wanted to make sure we cover a little bit of everything. No, I mean, you guys are in the right place. Your volume's there. Like I said, we need that first. Yep. As we start manipulating those first 30. So let's get rid of the age, put it in the fresh, make sure that fresh is moving. And if it's slowing down, if we don't have enough leads, try to get the switches going on that fresh. And I forgot to tell you that. All right, let's go to the internet people. We've got 5 tabs for them too. No contact in 2 days. Cars in stock who we haven't contacted in 2 days. Do that today. Do that first. There's 51. No contact since last price change. Okay. Now, 14 days since last price change. We haven't contacted in 16 days. Yeah. Do that. All right. This is what I was talking about. Make model switch. So it's not trying to take somebody from an F-150 to a Ram. It's a Blazer to a Blazer. Okay. Yeah. These should be pretty easy switches. There's 14 opportunities. Just do that. Yeah. Now, if they do that and stop there, I'd be happy. Now, if they got more time, then do the other switches. Try to take them from a Terrain to an Equinox. That might be an easy switch. But, and then this one has trades. I love this one. And I would have them do this too. I don't know. Have you sell this before? Know why that's there?
I assume it's just all the people that we have a lead on, and they also have a trade in.
Yes. And pull Andrea up and say, hey, call Teresa today. this and she like yesterday, you know. And be like, well, yeah, we go out train. Different person. Hey, Teresa, I know I've been calling you about your train, but I also realize you're trying to trade in a 2023 Ford Edge. We're in great need of vehicles. I just want to know if I can put a number on your car if you're interested in that, you know.
Yeah.
And just have a different conversation.
Yeah.
But this is a great place. You got 100 leads in here, 97 that have trade data. If you need cars, this is where you should go.
That's right where we should go. Yeah,
Right, where
absolutely.
you should go. So you already have some kind of connection, name, phone number, contact information.
Yeah.
What they're, you know, they're shopping.
Most of
trying to
these
get
people
rid
have
of-
probably been here, you know.
So one metric that I'm gonna start implementing, we're gonna upgrade a lot of our internet reports. We're on the internet side right now, and we have some internet data in here, but that's the area we're gonna greatly increase. But one of it is I want to this trade number. I want to. What we found is only about 10 to 15% of your leads have trade data on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because when they're on Auto Trader or Cars or wherever you're on, and they fill out a contact form, don't ask them if they're trading anything.
No,
right?
yeah.
So they don't have to give you trade information. But also, if you have appointment setters, a lot of them don't even want to mention the trade because
Yeah.
they don't want to throw off the appointment. They're
Yeah.
going to want a number before they come in, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. A high percentage of these leads have a car they're going to dispose of. They're probably already looking at CarMax. They probably already did it. You know, you might as well have the conversation now.
Yeah.
And so I want to take you from 10% of your leads having trade information to 20, 30, 40. I mean, half your deals have trade-ins at least.
Yeah.
So half your leads should have trade data. So if we have 97, let me check real quick. So you have 773 leads. What's the math? That's a little over 10%, right? 97 divided into
13%,
737, 13%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fall right in there.
Yeah.
Drive that number up. And eventually what I'm going to try to do for you guys is recognize what that car is by segment. Let me go back to that. Remember, like I said, hey, you need more large pickup trucks. I want my tool to recognize that's a large pickup truck. That's a intermediate SUV.
Yeah, you'd be able to click
Yeah.
right into it, and
Yeah, so when you're over here and we say, hey, you need to buy 4 more intermediate sport utilities, I want
Yeah.
a number here saying you got 20 people trying to trade one of
clicking
those
that,
in.
pull
Those people up and then start hitting those
That'd be
customers.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to be working on. So that's why I bring that up. I can do all this work, but if you guys don't put trade-in data, because you
Sure.
know, that's,
Yeah.
I did all this work for nothing. So, but that's what I want to do, because then, but me doing that would give you a purpose to make sure they do that.
Yeah,
too. Because you'd
absolutely.
be like, dude, put that in there because I need to be buying shit, and you got customers. So,
Yeah. No, it's a and yeah, it's easy to not be. You know, it's easy
Yeah.
to not be and still have a decent month, still feel good about it, and then it's like, man, but if I was using the tool in the right way, probably could have sold 30 more cars a month. You know, or 30 more cars that month. Take you from a 270 month to a 300 car month just by using a product you're already paying for.
and you may or may not have seen that. Let me do this. Let me show you. Because again, I started internet sales in 1997. So back then, it wasn't. They didn't slice up their budget and their dollars. They said, "Hey, we're spending 50 grand in an advertising. Let's take." They added another 5 grand for the internet leads, so I was an added expense, and I always had to defend
Yeah.
so that's why I get all this data, because from day one, since for 20 something years, I always had to defend my position. How many leads, how many appointments, what's your closing percentage, what's
Yeah.
your response time? And so I just start tracking. Anyways, I just needed some validation that our stuff works. And so this is 2 weeks sold, and this is first 30. And what you're seeing here is the black is our average dealer. The red is dealers that don't log into the tool and don't utilize it.
Yep.
The yellow is they log in less than 10 times a week. Okay. And then our top 10.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that. They are in stock 108.
Yeah.
Versus the dealer not using our tool, selling 72%. They're 20 to 30% higher sale rate. Okay, using the tool. Now let's check on gross. Consistent. See, what I found with volume is, if you notice here, a lot of good stores, bad stores, they dip. See right here?
Mhm.
I know that's the market.
Yeah.
Okay, tax season, April and May, everything's going to dip. February and March, everybody's going to go up.
Yeah.
Some better than others.
Sure.
Okay, so that's the market, and even the good guys can't control that. But what they could control is first 30, and there's always a big gap
Yeah.
between the great
Well,
operators
just
and the bad
consistently, they're
operators.
just higher. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, I mean,
So they're
do that
selling
over 12 months. I'm happy with it.
62% of their inventory is going out, or sales are going out in the first 30 days.
Yeah.
So they're going to sell 110% of their inventory, and 60% of it's making gross.
Yeah.
Okay, so that to me, versus the guy not using the tool, only 40% in the first
Yeah.
30. Okay, so to me, I have proof.
Yeah.
Do this, trust me, it works.
Yeah.
But it's going to be painful. It's going to take a lot of work. So what we'll wrap up here is I'm telling you, it depends on how fast you want to attack this, but it's probably going to be 3 months of pain. Okay, and just recognize it. We're going to try to minimize that pain by get that fresh stuff going, stay ahead of those tabs, do that lot walk each day, and
Yeah.
make sure you attack that. And we'll do that weekly call, give you those weekly takeaways, make you accountable, and make sure you did it when we come back next week.
Yeah.
And then eventually these numbers, I mean, you're at the 50%. Your first 30 was pretty close too. What were you at? Like, I think it was 50% first 30 too.
Yeah.
44, close. So
I mean, what makes me excited is that I'm there, and that's what I would consider to be like our worst. Like, we came off of way too much inventory, not turning it fast enough, having to wholesale, wrong mix, and I'm still performing at it's fine. It's it's good. It's paying the bills. There's nothing wrong, and like we have that much more potential, and we're in 3 weeks we're already seeing that bump. I mean, I can't remember the last time I got one of those emails that said I was 50%. In my first 30 or first 30.
yeah.
And so
Or
like
2 weeks old, yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
But we're at 50% right now, and all we did was start being intentional with it about 2 weeks ago, and that's just how quick it can change.
I'm gonna tell you what I'm working on, but we do have to wrap up here. So I can look 2 weeks back, and then I'm just projecting like you sold 10, so I'm projecting you're gonna sell 20.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna try to do, I was just talking to my guy, and I just like numbers, and I make this too complicated, which is bad. But what I want to show you is, so like, look, if this holds true, and if you don't increase your sale rate by 5 units, they're going to add to your 25.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what the next 2 weeks is going to look like. Like today, I go, if everything holds true, 2 weeks from now, this is 30, because I'm going to take the 5 oldest cars in here and assume by 2 weeks from now they're going to be here. They're going to carry over. So each day that's going to adjust. So tomorrow that might be -3. Okay. Well, so what I'm saying is I'm going to basically be able to show you if you don't do any changes based on what's happening, this is what next week's the 2 weeks from now is going to look like, or a month. But,
It'd be nice to see that, so you can kind of almost scare yourself.
Yeah.
I
want this chart to have a line right here. So you click a button to say, let me see 2 weeks from now. Boom. And you're going to see, because what I was going to tell you was, the good news is this 21%, I think, is going to go below that in the teens naturally, because you got a good chunk of cars right here.
Yeah.
They're going to go.
Yeah.
This is going to be 30. This is going to drop down to 15. And then this 21% will be like 15%. And you're going to be able to really squeeze it off. But that's why I brought it up. That's going to happen. Because here's the thing. Let's go look at these 21 real quick. Here, I can... vehicle sort by age. He's sending it. That's going tomorrow. That's going tomorrow. That's going tomorrow. That's going in 2 days. That's going in 3 days. That's going in 3 days. You know what I'm saying? So you can see, unless 8 cars. If they don't sell in the next 3 days, we'll hit that 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is, and like I said, right now I would show you 5 of them going to that bucket.
Yeah. Yeah, no, man. Great product. Excited to reset on it.
So my point is, you're getting volume. Your middle bucket is the biggest challenge. Stop the bleeding. By the time you get back from an ADA, those cars will tip. Your middle bucket will be in the teens.
Yeah.
Just keep that sale rate going. Now we got 30 or 33 cars aged. You decide how fast you want those off. If you want to do it this month and blow them out, And then next month you'll start seeing profit as we get that fresh sale rate. If you're gonna take 2 or 3 months to work that out, that's
Yeah.
how long you're gonna.
It's money now, money later.
Yep.
And really, I'm just going to hold money if, I'm going to keep losing money if I hold on to them. So,
Yeah. All
But
right.
yeah, cool, man.
Well, I
All right.
appreciate it. I don't
Yeah,
know. Do we
thank you.
stop sharing or just keep it going and mute it?
Just keep
Where's
it
the
rolling.
mute? Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate the insight.
We're tight.
Just speak out of